Here are 15 budgeting methods that can help you manage your finances more effectively. Welcome to Big Turtle Finance. In this video, I'm going to show you 15 budgeting methods that can help you manage your finances more effectively. I personally gathered these 15 methods and spent time analyzing each to help you find a budgeting method that will work the best for you. I rated each method based on 3 criteria. Number 1. Skill requirement. No matter how great the method is, it is useless if it is too difficult for an individual to use. So, I will let you know how easy it is to use a particular budgeting method. Number 2. Time commitment. Let's be real. None of us want to or can spend too much time out of our busy life to take care of our financial needs. So, I have analyzed and rated on how time-consuming they are. Lastly, I will give you an overall rating so you can see the bigger picture more easily. Now, let's dive right into it. Number 1. 50-30-20 rule. This method divides your income into 3 categories: 50% of your income for needs such as housing, groceries, bills, 30% for wants like entertainment and dining out, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. This method provides a balanced approach to spending and saving. Skill requirement is low. You only need basic math skills to divide your income into the 3 percentages. For example, if your income is $1,000, 50% will be $500, 30% will be $300, and 20% will be $200. It's easy to understand and requires minimal financial literacy. Time commitment is also low. Once you calculate the percentages, it's easy to maintain. Regular adjustments might be needed if your income or expenses change. Overall rating of 50-30-20 method is 4 out of 5. This is a simple, beginner-friendly method that encourages saving, but may not work well for those with fluctuating incomes or high debts. Number 2. Zero-based budget. Every dollar of your income is allocated to a specific category. Income minus expenses equals 0. The goal is to assign every dollar a purpose. For example, you allocate your $1,000 budget to these expenses: housing, car or transportation, food, utilities, saving, debt payment, and miscellaneous. Every dollar of your income is now assigned a job, with the goal of having $0 left unallocated. Income minus expenses equals 0, making sure all funds are planned for. Skill requirement is medium. It requires attention to detail and good organizational skills to track and categorize every dollar spent. Time commitment is high. You need to regularly update and review your budget to ensure everything balances. It requires constant tracking and adjustment. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. Great for disciplined individuals who want complete control over their money. It can be time-consuming but highly effective for maximizing savings and minimizing wasteful spending. Number 3. Envelope system. In this system, cash is divided into different envelopes for each category, for example, groceries, rent, and entertainment. When an envelope is empty, you stop spending in that category until the next pay period. Skill requirements is low. The concept is simple and there's no need for complex calculations or tracking apps. It requires discipline to stick to the cash limit. Time commitment is medium. It requires setup each pay period because you need to divide money into envelopes and monitoring throughout the month. Overall rating is 3.5 out of 5. This strategy is effective for controlling overspending, especially for discretionary expenses, but less convenient for people who prefer digital payments or manage a lot of expenses online. Number 4. Pay yourself first. With this method, you save and invest a fixed percentage of your income before spending on anything else. It prioritizes your financial future by ensuring you save before you spend. This method ensures that you're saving a portion of your income regularly. Skill requirement is low. You simply set aside a specific portion of your income for savings before paying other expenses. Time commitment is also low. Once you automate savings or direct deposit, it requires very little ongoing effort. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. Excellent for building wealth, but doesn't offer much guidance for managing day-to-day expenses. It works best when paired with another budgeting method. Number 5. 80-20 budget. You save 20% of your income and spend the remaining 80% freely. This simplified approach focuses on building savings while allowing flexibility with the majority of your income. Skill requirement is low. Like the 50-30-20 rule, it only requires simple percentage-based division of income. Time commitment is also low. You only need to allocate the 20% savings upfront, then spend the rest without further budgeting. Overall rating is 3.5 out of 5. A relaxed approach that works for those who can manage their spending naturally, but it doesn't offer much structure for those who need more detailed expense tracking. Number 6. Priority-based budgeting. In this strategy, you focus on paying for your highest financial priorities first, like debt repayment, savings, or investment, and whatever is left can be spent on other categories. Skill requirement is medium. You need to evaluate your financial goals and prioritize spending categories based on importance. Time commitment is medium. It requires upfront decision-making about what your financial priorities are, but once set, it's fairly straightforward. Overall rating is 3.5 out of 5. It is flexible and goal-oriented, but it may not provide enough structure for those who need help with everyday spending management. Number 7. The anti-budget. This method focuses on saving and investing a set percentage of your income. Once the percentage is set aside, there is no need to track individual categories. The remaining income can be spent freely. Skill requirement is low. The anti-budget is extremely simple. You save a fixed percentage and spend the rest without detailed tracking. Time commitment is very low. Little effort is required beyond setting up your savings and investment plan. Overall rating is 3 out of 5. This method works well for people who are naturally frugal or have their spending habits under control. However, it may not be ideal for those who need to monitor specific spending categories. Number 8. The 60% solution. In this strategy, you will allocate 60% of your income to committed expenses such as housing, utilities, groceries, and divide the remaining 40% into savings, retirement, fund money, and other miscellaneous expenses. Skill requirement is medium. It requires basic tracking of fixed expenses and the ability to divide the remaining income into several categories. Time commitment is medium. Regular monitoring is needed to ensure the 60% cap is maintained for committed expenses. Overall rating is 3.5 out of 5. A balanced approach that covers essential spending, saving, and fun, but it requires regular adjustments if expenses fluctuate. Number 9. Debt avalanche. This method focuses on paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first while making minimum payments on other debts. Once the highest interest debt is paid off, you move to the next. After you pay the dedicated amount to the debt payment, you can use the rest freely. This is a perfect starting point for those who have a large debt. Skill requirement is medium. It requires some basic financial literacy to understand interest rates and prioritize debts. Time commitment is also medium. IT requires tracking of debt payments and ongoing focus on debt reduction until all debts are cleared. Overall rating is 4.5 out of 5. It is highly effective for minimizing interest payments and clearing debt fast, but it can feel slow if your highest interest debt has a large balance. Number 10. Line item budgeting or Kakebo boxes. This is a detailed method where every single expense is tracked in its own category, for example, food, rent, utilities, clothing, etc. It requires careful tracking and adjustment. Skill requirement is high. IT requires attention to detail, financial literacy, and the discipline to track every expense in its respective category. However, if you can stay on track and keep yourself motivated, the method is highly effective. Time commitment is also high. You need to update the budget regularly to stay on track, which can be time-consuming. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. The strategy provides a detailed, precise view of your finances, but the high level of maintenance can be daunting for people who prefer simpler methods. Number 11. Reverse budgeting. This method focuses on usage trends and finds areas for reduction. This method gives you a lot of freedom, however, if you cannot stay disciplined, you can easily derail. Skill requirement is medium. You need to identify which area is up for reduction. Time commitment is also medium. While you have no upfront time commitment, you will need to spend good amount of time in analyzing the spending afterwards. Overall rating is 3.5 out of 5. While it is good for individuals with decent amount of savings and emergency fund, identification of problem areas and adjustment can be difficult. Number 12. Annual number method. This is a unique budgeting approach where you calculate numbers to see how much the total expense will become annually. For example, buying a cup of coffee costs $7 and you plan to buy every day, that will be $7 times 365, which is equal to $2,555. You will then add up the rest of the spending and compare against your annual net income to see if you can afford the expense. Our expenses often varies from month to month, and this method will allow you to see how much of your net income you will be spending on the expense annually. Skill requirement is medium. While it appears to be a lot of work, it is a simple math. Time commitment is high. You need to convert every expense into annual amount. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. While it is time-consuming, if you can do the math quickly, you will create a very realistic budget. Number 13. Bucket or barefoot method. This method is similar to 50-30-20 method. They divide into 60-20-20 where 60% goes to daily expenses, 20% goes to savings, and the last 20% goes to blow. That separates into two categories, smile and splurge. This is a hybrid method that is balanced and easy to follow. Skill requirement is low. It is a simple math to find 60% and 20% of net income. Time commitment is also low. After the 60% and 20% calculations, you just need to stick to the percentage. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. While it requires very basic skills and minimum time commitment, it requires decent size income and ability to keep track of each spending to stay within the percentage. Number 14. Responsible budgeting or no budget or free flow style. This is an advanced technique where you will only monitor your incomes and expenses loosely. That means no limit on how much you can spend on each expense essentially. You need to have good emergency fund, relatively stable and sizable income, and self-control to use this budgeting technique. You also need to be able to cut down on spendings the moment you see needs. Skills requirement is low. You will not be managing your budget tightly, so essentially the skill requirement is none. Time commitment is also low. Because it is a free flow style, you will not be spending almost any time on budgeting. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. If you meet certain criteria that has been mentioned, this strategy will work for you very well. However, most likely, this is not the best strategy for many of you. Number 15. Spreadsheets or build your own. This is highly customizable method to cater to your own needs. It requires basic spreadsheet skills, time, analyzation skill, and self-control, but you can create a unique budget that is 100% customized for you and your needs. You can integrate some of the other methods in this video as well. Skill requirement is high. You need to be able to use spreadsheets and hold basic skills to navigate the spreadsheets. You will also need to do your own analysis on your spending habit. Time commitment is medium. You need to create your own spreadsheet or modify if you are creating one based off of someone else's spreadsheet. Then, you need to run your own analysis. However, once you develop a system and workflow, you can do it in a short amount of time and give you good analysis on your spending habits. Overall rating is 4 out of 5. While this is the most customizable and give you a freedom to cater to your own needs, it requires some skills and time commitment. So, let's summarize what we just reviewed. Best budgeting methods for beginners are 50-30-20 rule, pay yourself first, 80-20's budget, bucket. Best for debt reduction is debt avalanche. Best for control and detail are zero-based budget, line item budgeting, annual number, spreadsheets. Best for minimal effort are the anti-budget, pay yourself first, reverse budgeting, and free flow style. Your choice will depend on your financial goals, how much effort you're willing to invest, and how detailed you want your budgeting to be. Remember, you can always adjust your budgeting and the way you budget. You can start off with one method, move to another, or custom build your own based off of one or more of the methods to create one that works for you. Let us know what your budgeting method is. If you have trouble finding your own strategy, drop a comment below and we will try to find the best budgeting method that fits for your situation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. I will see you in the next video.